Show you guys how awesome I am. And I'm gonna swing with all my might, and I'm gonna impress you, and I'm gonna show you how awesome I am at tetherball, God. And Jesus, watch, I'm going to show you how cool I am. Do you see my good works, Lord? Do you see how much I pray? Do you see how much I give? Do you see how much I fast? Do you see how much I serve, God? Are you impressed yet? And are you proud of me yet, God? And when we do that, we end up the same way that I did, right? Embarrassed. Because the reality is that none of us can keep that up. Man, none of us can keep that up. We end up like I was, embarrassed and running home. Because we're not strong enough. And I have some good news for you. You do not have to impress God. You don't have to impress Him. You see, because Jesus, He doesn't love you because of who you are. He loves you because of who He is. He loves you because of who He is, and there's nothing that I can do to make Him love me more. There's nothing that I can do that's going to make Him love me less. See, God is not mostly concerned with your behavior. God is not mostly concerned with your morality. And He's mostly concerned with your love. He's mostly concerned with what you do with your love. And if God wanted people to obey Him, He would have created us just as obedience machines. Right? He would have created us that way. We would have all lived perfect lives. We would have all done exactly what God wanted us to do. We would have been perfect little robots. Man, we would have done everything without question. And it would have created us all without the freedom to choose anything. And we would have all been perfectly obedient. But robots can't love. And people without choice, they can't love. Or if you force love upon something, that's not love. And so Jesus is mostly concerned with your love, and the only way for Him to create us with the capacity for love is to create us with the capacity to reject it. He creates us with the capacity to choose. He creates us with choice. And the only way for us to love Him was for us to be given a choice to love Him. For us to be given a choice, for us to be given the chance to choose Him or reject Him. And since He loves us, He gave us this choice. And since He wanted love from us more than He wanted our behavior, more than He wanted just our morality, He wanted our love, He gave us the choice. And He gave us freedom. And then He did something else that was totally crazy. Then He let Himself get nailed to a cross. And then He let Himself die. Then He gave His life for us on the cross to initiate love with you. And Jesus gave His life on the cross because He loves you and because He wanted you to know that He loves you. He showed us who He was so that we'll respond to His love. In Romans 5:8, it says this, and I love this verse. It's so true for us. Is that God demonstrates His love for us in this way. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And see, Jesus didn't love you for your good deeds. Christ didn't love you and say, you know what, I really like the way that this guy behaves, so I'm going to give my life for him on the cross. No, He loved us while we were still jacked up, when we were still messed up, with all of our baggage, with all of our mess. He loves us. See, we weren't created for rules. We weren't created for a religion. We were created for a relationship. We were created for a relationship. And here's the thing. Some of you guys may be in here and you're like, this dude hates rules. And that is partially true. I do all kind of hate rules. I mean, I'm a youth pastor as well, and so we got to bend the rules here and there. But some of you guys think, okay, man, he hates rules. And that's not true. I don't hate rules, right? There's some rules that I totally love. Like, how cooked should my food be at a restaurant? I love that rule, right? And if you've ever had food poisoning, you know why I love that rule, right? There's other rules that I really like wash your hands after using the bathroom. A really good rule. Can I get an amen, right? A good rule. I like that rule. Or another really good rule is no talking in the movie theater, right? You don't talk because they're talking. I don't want to hear you. I didn't pay to hear you, right? Or if you've ever been to a foreign country, you'll agree with me on this. There's actually traffic laws that I appreciate nowadays, right? Because we went to India, and if there was road, there were people on it, and there were cars on it, and it didn't matter, right? And so there's some rules that I like. I don't hate rules, but rules are not going to change your life. And rules will never change you. They don't have the power to transform you. Only a person can do that. Only Jesus can do that. Only Jesus has the power to change you. You see, we should do good works out of abundance, not out of obligation. So you don't hear me saying, doesn't matter what you do, Jesus loves you. Go live however you want. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it doesn't come first. Rules don't come before relationship. Man, what you do doesn't make you righteous. You see, you're made righteous by Jesus. Jesus gives you His righteousness. He loves you. And so we respond with our love. We respond with obedience. And so our relationship with Jesus should overflow into a life filled with good works. So we should be doing good things, but it's because we love Jesus, not because we have to do it, because we want to do it. Because I want to do what Jesus wants me to do. And it all starts with this love relationship with Jesus. And for God, that relationship, it comes way before the rules do. It comes way before all this stuff. When the end of your life comes, Jesus is not going to be standing there with a checklist and say, look, let's see if your good works outweigh your bad works. And then I'll let you into heaven if that's true. Right? We're all toast if that's the case. I'm toast if that's the case. But Jesus isn't going to be standing up there with a checklist. He's not going to ask, how many good works did you accomplish? There was one day where you only had one, and that's not, we have a standard of 3 good works per day for heaven. That's not how Jesus operates. He's not going to ask you if your good works outweigh your bad. He's just going to ask you if you know him. He's going to say, do you know me? Do you know me? He's going to ask if we knew him. And so we're left with this question, how can I be made righteous? How can I be made righteous? And I would say start by comparing yourself to Jesus in the Bible. Start by comparing yourself to them. Because we spend a lot of time comparing ourselves to each other. Right? We spend a lot of time, and I'll tell you what, if you want to make yourself feel better, compare yourself with other people. Because you will be able to find somebody who's worse off than you are. Right? You will be able to find somebody, if you look around and be like, oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy. I'm better than him. Right? And then somebody else will look at you and be like, oh yeah, I'm better than that guy. Right? So it's pretty easy to puff yourself up and make yourself feel good. But see, works righteousness, it's going to impress people. It will. I guarantee, man, it's going to impress people. People will check you out. They'll be like, man, did you see how much that dude gave in the offering? Come on. He's going to heaven, obviously. And did you hear how much she prays? She prays 5 hours a day. Wow. Man, she's awesome. Right? Or do you hear how much they fast? I don't even think, she doesn't even eat. She just fasts all the time. Right? How awesome. Dude, this dude is impressive. He's so impressive. He's awesome. But the reality is that works righteousness, it doesn't impress God. All those things, they're just things. They don't impress God. God's not like, wow, you are cool. So try this for an exercise. Whenever you start to feel proud of how awesome you are, or whenever that Pharisee starts to kind of creep up, or you see yourself, then stop and play the comparison game. Okay, so stop yourself and be like, okay, it's time to compare. Only this time, instead of comparing yourself to those people around you, compare yourself to Jesus. Compare yourself to him. See, you can compare yourself to sinless, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, created the world, Jesus. Right? And then see how good you feel about yourself. Like, I feel so good. Let me compare myself to Jesus. Oh, he never sinned. Oh, he created the world. Oh, okay. Yeah, it kind of puts us in our place. See, compared to him, man, we're nothing. Compared to him, we got nothing. And we like to do this. We like to put people into some categories, right? We like to categorize people versus on their righteousness, right? Like obviously pastors are ultra righteous. I mean, obviously, right? And then down the way are all the sinners, right? So in the scale, you have Pastor Amy way over here on the righteous side, right? Because everyone knows she's never sinned before. And then close by, you've got Pastor Wayne, right? And then somewhere in the middle, I think, is Pastor Greg. And then, don't worry, I'm making fun of myself. And then on the borderline is me, right? Because I have to hang out with youth and all that stuff. So on the borderline is that youth pastor guy. And then everyone else is down there on the sinner side, right? All the sinners are down there. And then it keeps getting farther and farther along. Right? We like to do this. We say oh man, yeah, this dude's super righteous. I'm not as righteous. Oh man, I'm not as good as him. I'm not like that. I'm not as awesome as he is. So we like to put ourselves in these categories, but I really think Jesus only sees 2 categories. I really think Jesus only sees us in 2 separate boxes. And there are those people who pursue righteousness on their own and fail. That's one group. And the other group is the people who recognize that we're not righteous. And so we want Jesus' righteousness. See, there's one group who doesn't realize that they're lost, and the other group, we realize that we are. See, there's really only 2 groups. And see, because the thing is that we don't have righteousness. Okay, I'm just going to debunk this. Pastor Amy is not more righteous. I mean, well, that seems like blasphemy. Pastor Wayne is not more righteous than any of us. Right? See, in the First National Bank of Righteousness, we're all bankrupt. We're all totally bankrupt. Most of us are overdrawn, in fact, right? We don't have righteousness. We don't possess righteousness. It's not something that we have, but it's something that Jesus will gladly give you. It's something that Jesus will give you as his gift. And the reason that God rejects this offering of self-righteousness, the reason that God rejects this is because it insults Jesus. It insults his sacrifice. You see, because we're trying to take credit for something that's not ours. When we say to God, look how righteous I am, God, look how awesome I am, we're taking credit for Jesus' sacrifice that we had nothing to do with it. We're taking credit for something that's not ours.